What's going on, everybody? How you doing? And welcome. My name is Lord PeteyTV. I'm here to give you our Mythic Plus update for the week. I'm going to be talking pretty quickly this week because we have a lot to talk about on the update side of things for, I think it's 11.0.5. As for Mythic Pluses, let's get that done and out of the way. This week coming up, it's going to be a very interesting week in my opinion. It's going to be Xel'atath's Bargain is a cent this week. They ended up changing it from what I originally thought it was, so that is going to be the affix. It is going to mean that 10 orbs are going to appear within every minute or so, and they're going to have to be crowd control, interrupted, purged, or any of that stuff, and that is going to give you a movement speed and haste buff, and that is going to be happening right this week. So that is what the affix is going to be. The next thing is going to be Fortified. For level 4 affix means more health and more damage to the group. Affix 7 is Challenger's Peril. Obviously, more deaths mean more seconds. Then 10 is going to be Tyrannical. So you're going to have that. Yes. So the first one is Fortified, second one is Tyrannical, and then obviously Guile at 12. So it's pretty easy kind of going through. Just make sure you keep an eye on your packs you're pulling. It's going to be a little bit of an easier week if you're trying to pull through some keys because the bosses aren't going to hold more problems. Just make sure you keep on your interrupts and make sure you keep on pulling, and you will be fine. So it's going to be kind of interesting to kind of go through. But now, the more meat and potatoes for this week is going to be this patch update. And the patch update is going to include the 20th anniversary also. So they did add a bunch of changes that I'm going to be kind of going through really quickly. These are the stuff that I've kind of found. I wouldn't be surprised if I am missing some. I'm trying to see if there's anything else real quick that I am missing, but I didn't see anything. So really quickly, Paladins are getting some changes to a couple of different abilities. Lay on Hands is going to be one of them. Lightforge Blessing is going to be a change there. Shaman are going to have their Poison Cleansing Totem changed. Enhancement Shaman, Deeply Rooted Enhancements is going to be changing, and there are going to be some dungeon and raid mechanics that are going to be changing. As for the 20th anniversary, that's going to be coming into effect. Now it's going to be giving you tokens that are going to allow you to have old looks of old gear, meaning your old tier 2. Time Walking Classic dungeons are coming in where you can get a new type of mount. You have lots of that stuff coming in. You're going to have special 30th anniversary stuff coming in on the trading post. You're adding the Drakthir are going to be coming different types of classes as a Hunter, Rogue, Priest, Mage, Warrior, Warlock. So you have all of those things that are going to be coming into play. So you're going to be able to change that stuff. But they're also changing some of their abilities that are kind of come with it. Wing Buffet is now going to be 3 minutes instead of a minute and a half. It no longer automatically shifts you out of your form except for when you're an Invoker. So that's going to be there. Wing Buffet now displays effects on your character when you're in Visage form. Visage form is going to have a small miniature cooldown. Soaring will now shift you back into Visage form upon landing. Tail Swipe is no longer a ratio for Drakthir. Tail Swipe is now a baseline talent for Evokers, which means we're not going to be having it if you decide to just make a straight Drakthir. Drakthir, who is straight away from the magic, have reduced movement boosts while in Glide. So that's that. Dark Iron Dwarves are now having Mole Machine to go to new places. And then there is a lot of changes that are happening through all of the classes. And I mean, there are a lot. I'm talking new talent changes, new buffs, new things in and out. I mean, there is a lot. I could probably sit here and talk for like 20 minutes to kind of give you an overall update of what's happening for each individual class. I mean, you might be able to hear me spinning with the wheel of my mouse button right now, and that is all me going through stuff that's happening. I mean, they really are changing a lot of stuff. I mean, it's a lot of stuff. It's kind of crazy. So, the best thing I can tell you to do is that Wowhead has a tuning patch coming through. And I'm going to kind of go through what the class writers have kind of wrote up on how things are going to be for most of the classes. Now, I'm not going to read the notes portion. I'm just going to read the estimated percentage changes and things like that. I think that's going to be a lot better for you than me trying to read off every single little itty bitty change that has been happening. Okay, so they have this in alphabetical order, and I'm going to try to go as quick as possible. DK's Deathbringers are going to have so single target is going to be a 5% upgrade. AoE is going to be a nerf. The DK of Salayan Blood DK is going to have a 15 to 20% nerf on both. Frost DK, single target, is going to have about an 8% upgrade, and then AoE is going to be 7%. Balanced Druid, single target is a 0.5 nerf, and AoE is a 5% nerf. Pharaoh is going to be maybe about a 2% increase on single target. AoE is going to stay the same. Resto Druids are going to be staying about the same. Evoker and Devastation Evoker, both of their single targets are going to be a buff to the shields, whichever they give. Beastmaster is getting a buff on both single target and AoE. It doesn't say how much, but they're just saying it is going to definitely be a buff. Marksman Hunter is getting about 2% on both single target and AoE. Survival Hunter is getting a buff about 6% and 9%. Arcane Mage using Sun Fury is going to be about a 12% buff to single and a 11% buff to AoE. Spellslinger is going to be getting a 15% to 20% buff on single target and an AoE of 29%. Fire Mage is getting a 6.5% nerf to single target and not on AoE. Frost is getting an 8% buff. Brewmaster is going to be getting a buff of 2.5 and then a 2.9 on AoE. Mistweaver is about a 1% on single target and a 3 to 5% on AoE. Windwalker is a 3% single, 4 to 5% on AoE. Holy Pally is getting a nerf on both, about a negative-ish 2%. Prop Pally, it's really hard to see because they really haven't given us any information. Ret Pally is getting about a 3% nerf. Assassin Rogue is getting a single target increase of 6%, and AoE none. Outlaw is getting a 5% increase on both single target and AoE. Subtlety is getting a 4% single target and nothing on AoE. Elemental Shaman is getting no change in single target, but a significantly larger buff on AoE. That is because they're changing their stat priority to Mastery, which is the only one that's having that done this whole entire patch. So just think of that. Enhancement Shaman, they really don't have enough information. Resto Shaman is getting a little bit of a buff. Arms Warrior is getting a 1% nerf on single target. They're getting a target cap for both Arms, Fury, and Prot of all 5%. I'm sorry, 5%. 5 target cap on that. Fury, it's kind of a wash, and Prot, it's kind of a wash also. There's a lot. So there's a lot of interesting stuff that is there about that information that's coming through. There's not really much more I can kind of tell you other than there are lots and lots of stuff that are changing. I think that I'm trying to just make sure I'm not missing anything. I think that these are kind of interesting buffs for me because I feel like they're not really doing anything out of the ordinary that people aren't going to want to deal with. So it's really weird to me, and I'm wondering why. So I'm kind of curious. I'm kind of curious to see what they're doing and what they're changing. So all I can do is I can wait till tomorrow and see exactly how it's going to end up playing out. So just like everybody else. Well, I love and appreciate everybody for hanging out and listening to me babble for a little bit. Please make sure you check the patch notes for 11.0.5. There, like I said, there's going to be a lot of information there. My name is Lord PeteyTV. I'm on Twitch.tv and on YouTube every single Monday through Friday. Please come check us out. I greatly appreciate you. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. I appreciate all the love and support because we need those numbers to go up. And hopefully we'll see you all soon. All right, love you. Thanks. Bye, everybody.